So you guys already know what happened with Vladimir Putin and President Donald Trump in Alaska. They met August 15th to discuss concessions concerning Ukraine and Russia conflict. Well, nothing good or bad came out of it, but I do think something did come out of it, but it's not for the public to know necessarily. So now in return, we have Zelenskyy and the European leaders flying into Washington, D.C. on the 18th of August, 2025 to meet with President Trump about Ukraine. That includes Zelenskyy himself. Just a quick little point. I want to mention this. I don't know why, but did you all know that Mr. Macron, the leader of France, that his grandfather was a Nazi leader over in Germany? Well, he was an officer. How interesting. And the leader of the UK, beautiful Britain, Starmer, well, I was looking at his polls and his rating went down big time. Only 13% for Starmer. So I don't know what type of company Trump is bringing into our states, but it doesn't seem like company I would want to listen to or trust 100% because it's obvious they want this war to continue. It's a money machine. And unfortunately, I believe Zelenskyy is just the puppet put in place, just like I believe Starmer was selected by NATO to be the leader over in Britain or London. And Macron, the same thing. No wonder they don't like Russia. We know how Nazis feel about Russians. If you have any East European blood in you, you know this. Okay, let's move on to the astrology of what's going to happen on August 18th, 2025 in regards to the European leaders and Zelenskyy meeting with President Donald Trump in the United States at the White House in Washington, D.C. Let's get into it. So we have Moon in Taurus on August 18th. On the day of the meeting, the moon sits exalted in Taurus, but waning, and under the heavy hand of Saturn. Now, this can create tense negotiations and emotional undercurrents, but also a fading sense of hope for real breakthroughs. Saturn's influence here brings delays, suspicion, and cold diplomacy. All right, moving forward, we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces, opposite Mars in Virgo. This aspect represents a classic stalemate. Saturn demands restraint and caution, while Mars pushes for action and strategy. Europe is likely to urge caution, while Trump and his circle lean toward more practical or transactional deals. For Zelenskyy, this alignment suggests he will likely leave Washington, D.C. without solid guarantees. Jupiter and Cancer square the nodes. Jupiter, which is the planet of diplomacy and treaties, is in Cancer, emphasizing homeland security. Its clash with the nodes places the alliance system at a destiny crossroads. This shows Europe is not fully aligned with Trump, and the United States' path forward looks increasingly divided. So with Pluto in Aquarius challenging Trump's chart, Pluto's position in Aquarius brings power struggles and leadership challenges. For Trump, this points to holding back, offering symbolic gestures rather than firm commitments, and using this meeting to maintain leverage for himself. So my predicted outcome is Trump's stance. He is unlikely to fully give into Europe's demands. I expect vague promises, symbolic support, and or small concessions to be made, but not the large-scale commitments Zelenskyy or Europe leaders are hoping for. Europe's reaction. I get growing frustration. The meeting could highlight Trump's focus on leverage with Russia over NATO's unity, leaving European allies questioning U.S. reliability, when in fact they need to check themselves for the things they've done centuries back. And I'm not talking about civilians, guys. I'm talking about the leaders that have been placed in your countries, wanting you to go fight for Ukraine. It's a money machine tactic. And you have leaders that are connected to Nazi regime. Zelensky's position. He arrives with allies, but may leave Washington weakened with symbolic solidarity rather than the concrete backing he truly needs. Global signal. The astrology does suggest this meeting will produce stalemate and strained diplomacy. This could be a turning point where Europe begins to look inward for its own defense strategy instead of relying fully on Washington, D.C. And they have no choice, most likely, because I don't believe Trump is going to put American foot soldiers into Ukraine. Whereas some of the countries over in Europe, like France, possibly Germany, and definitely Starmer, are wanting to do this so they can make money. Because war brings money. And this is a proxy war. And the astrology points to that. My final mundane outlook. The August 18th, 2025 meeting in Washington will likely end in deadlock. Trump won't fully commit to Zelenskyy or the European leaders. The alignments show ego clashes, stale progress, and shifting alliances. A key moment where Europe starts to question its dependence on the United States. And this is where you're going to start seeing alliances shift, break apart, and the start of World War III. Even though it's not going to be in the fields and the combat mode, it is behind the scenes mode. You're going to see Europe join together and break off from the United States when it comes to this war and fight. And they are going to send soldiers eventually over into Ukraine. I do believe that, unfortunately. I don't blame Zelenskyy. Many people do. I don't. This guy was put here to be a puppet. He's being used by Europe, in my opinion, and I can say it. And my heart goes out to the civilians of Ukraine, the people who have lost their lives, the people who are underneath this regime, all for money making, pocketing money back, filtering it back. It's disgusting. And it goes back to 2014. It does. And my heart goes out to Gaza and the civilians of Gaza who are starving to death right now as we speak. Because of why? Netanyahu, I don't know. Maybe he can answer that. Meanwhile, President Trump, I pray you make the right decision and you hold your stance and you don't fall for the trap as Starmer, Macron, and all the other cronies come into your White House, storming in, swarming around you like flies and bees, like you're the honey and nectar, and they need to feed off of you. I pray that you put your foot down and tell them concessions have to be made with Russia and Ukraine. They both have to give up a little bit to save thousands of lives and to save your people thrown in the meat grinder. The West, that's who I'm talking to. But I don't think that's going to happen. Europe is going to fight this until there's no more Ukrainians, and then they step in. I pray not, because Europe, when I remote viewed this, there was a lot of bags with no human lives filling those shoes, returning back to you.